Have you ever thought about becoming a writer? If you have ever dreamed about writing a book, either a physical book or a Kindle book, or starting your own blog, I want to encourage you to pursue that dream on some level, because I think that you could be an awesome writer. You probably are already a good writer, but you could write and really help a lot of people. You have the gifts for it. And we're going to look at 7 reasons INFJs are excellent writers in the video today. But before we do that, I'd love to give you a sheet that you can work through that'll help you identify what to blog about. If you've ever thought about being a blogger, or maybe even figure out what to write about if you're thinking about writing books. This worksheet will ask you several questions, 3 to be specific, that'll help you identify the specific place that you should focus on. And you can grab a free copy of the sheet by checking out the link in the description below this video, or checking out the link in the show notes. And hopefully it'll bring some clarity. It'll help cut through the fog and help you figure out what specifically to write about. The first reason you should think about writing as an INFJ is that INFJs are born researchers and learners. We just love to learn. When we're left to ourselves, we dive into the whole of research. In fact, I know a lot of INFJs who lose track of time when they're researching. They just dive into it. They forget to eat. You know that you're in a place of flow, if you've ever heard that term before, when you just lose track of time. You're doing what you were born to do. And not everybody can do that. A lot of people don't have the patience to stick with it. And the other thing is we love to learn about new topics fairly consistently. We'll dive in until we get a certain level of mastery, and then we're on to the next thing. My friend, doesn't that sound just like what a writer does? You have to do the research to do good writing. So that research and propensity to want to learn is a real gift that you should harness, and that will help you as a writer because it'll help you develop expertise. One of my earliest memories of reading was in first grade, when we were allowed to have like the whole day. I think they said we could have the whole day to read and bring in a pillow. I think it was really like 3 hours. It felt like forever, but I brought in several books on reptiles and amphibians, which is what I was totally into at the time. And other kids were reading stories and looking at picture books and everything. Not me. I was consulting these guides to understand each of the reptiles and amphibians, what made them different, how to identify them, and where I could find them, so on and so forth. And I loved it. It was awesome. I did it all the time. Even when I was free, I'd be watching Discovery Channel stuff. Research. We were born to research. The second reason INFJs make great writers, and you would make a great writer, is because you have to work in quiet a lot of the time. I mean, what introvert doesn't really enjoy quiet? Now, I know we need people too, and certainly we'll get a chance to help people and work with people, but you will be able to focus without being interrupted. And that's a big deal for us. It's hard for us to do good quality work when we're interrupted regularly. Can you relate? But when you're doing work as a writer, you do research in libraries or at home or generally in quiet places, and you're able to do that for extended periods of time. And then when you actually are writing, that's done in quiet a lot of times as well. I mean, if you want some background noise or want to go to a coffee shop, go to the park, go outside, you can do that too. But it's an awesome way to do your work in quiet, and that's very appealing to many INFJs. The third reason you should think about becoming a writer is because you get to create original work. I know that's a big deal for a lot of us, especially again, since we are dominant intuitives, which all that really means is that we really appreciate creating. It means a lot of other things other than that, but we like to be creative to some extent. Maybe not in the same way an INFP would be creative, coming up with a new world or a completely new style, but we love to be creative and come up with something original, a new combination of ideas, a new insight, something that has our special fingerprint on it that helps other people. And when you write a book, you get to do that. You get to put all the ideas together in a way that nobody has thought of before, that is specifically connected to you in the way your mind works. And that is really special as an INFJ. Reason number 4 you should think about being a writer is you get to help others. And I've already alluded to that already, but generally we want to work with ideas and we want to be able to research and we want to be able to have the quiet. We want to be able to create original work, but we don't want to just do it to make money. We have to make money, and it's not bad to make money, and that's important, but we want to help others with their work. We want to help others specifically grow and help them become who they were made to be, among other things. And you get to do that when you're a writer, especially when you're writing informational books that help people solve a problem. Or maybe it's just the stories that you're writing that are really helping people, but you get to do that as a writer. Reason number 5 that you should think about being a writer is you get to work with ideas. How great is it to work with all kinds of ideas? When we are focused on the concrete world and we have to take care of practical details all the time, it can be really draining. But there are few personality types who work with ideas quite as well as INFJs, as you do. So putting yourself in a place where you're going to work with new ideas and old ideas and where you're going to be able to make connections again that no one else has made before is really exciting. I know this is something that I love to do. I often think of intuition and synthesis going together, where you're able to see the dots and connect them relatively quickly to identify the pattern. A lot of research comes down to seeing what other researchers have stated and finding where there's some overlap and making new connections. And when you are working with ideas, your ability to synthesize and make connections will be really powerful and helpful to your readers. And you can do that a lot better than many people. So the insights that you'll bring to the table as you do that synthesis and as you work with ideas will just be a real help to the people who are reading your work. Number 6, independence. On some level, INFJs really appreciate some freedom. I already mentioned before that it might be nice to go other places. Sometimes it's just good to mix the environment up in which you work. But even just having the creative control to set up your day the way you want to work is really nice too. You might have a routine. I think we all have routines to some extent, but being able to schedule a routine or experiment with a new one is really great if you become a writer who works full-time at writing. Now, you don't have to work full-time as a writer. You can do it in addition to your other job on the side. You have to decide how much writing you want to do and to what extent you want to invest in it. But if you wanted to do it full-time, it would give you a lot of freedom to set up your schedule and control the when and where and how of your work, which is really exciting, I think, for many INFJs. So we've covered 6 so far. We've looked at how you'll get to be a researcher and a learner. You will get to have quiet while you work. You'll get to create original work. You'll get to help others. You'll get to work with ideas. You'll have independence. And the 7th is that you'll get freedom to explore and grow. You're not pinned down when you are a writer. Again, you can go to other topics. You can push yourself. You can try new things. Maybe you want to write a Kindle book, but maybe your next step after that is to create your own audiobook to go with that. And then maybe beyond that, you want to do a physical book. One of the coolest things about blogging that I didn't know for a long time is that really it's a pathway to writing a physical book. You, when you have a lot of subscribers, like 10,000 per se, really have paved the way to write a physical book, because when you talk to a publisher about publishing a book and you tell them you have 10,000 subscribers, all of a sudden they're very interested in having that conversation with you because you have already brought an audience who will be interested in purchasing the book. A lot of publishers are wary of hiring people, or authors, I should say, who don't really have a following, but blogging can help you produce that. It'll help you write the book, in essence, post by post. It'll help you develop the chops to write a good book, and it'll help you bring the audience to the table to convince the publisher. And not only that, in the whole process, you can write a Kindle book that'll give you more authority as you do the writing. But I'm jumping into the nitty-gritty a bit too much. All that to say, it's going to be an awesome place for you to stretch yourself, and it'll give you freedom to explore and grow, and in the areas of strength for you, because we want to grow to be well-rounded people, but it's wonderful when you can really develop the specific special gifts that you've been given. So these are 7 reasons why you should consider becoming a writer. And don't forget to grab that free worksheet that'll help you decide what niche you could focus on, or maybe should focus on. The link is in the description and in the show notes as well. I hope that you found this helpful. If you'd like to learn more about how to become a writer, stay tuned. I'll have more information about that coming soon. Thanks for spending this time with me today. It was a pleasure connecting with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next show.